What's up, y'all? So your girl will officially be turning 25 on Saturday, June 27th. Big Cancer. It's my birthday, y'all. So before I start my chapter of 25, I want to go ahead and close my chapter of 24. So I know a lot of y'all have been coming to watch my content, and a lot of my content, what initially drew a lot of y'all in was the fact that I was pregnant. I'm no longer pregnant. I did have a miscarriage. Now, to go ahead and clear up a few things, as I said, I'm finna turn 25 this year. My baby daddy was 40. We have a 15-year age gap. That's the answer to one question. Next one is, some of y'all have caught on to the fact that I went from calling him the father of my child to baby daddy. That is because I have lost all respect for him. I have no regard for him. We don't even communicate. We ran into each other a few times over the course of the time that we haven't been speaking. But even when we are in the same event space or building, we don't speak. We don't communicate at all. So that is off the table. No. What I learned from that situation is nothing that's meant for you is going to pass you by, of course. But just because things don't go the way that you want them to go doesn't mean it's your fault. You just might not have all the information or the full picture. I say that to say this. Yes, I had a miscarriage. Yes, I lost my baby. Yes, initially that was something that was very traumatic for me. That is no longer traumatic for me, y'all. Like I've been saying for a couple videos now, that'll probably be the most happiest loss I will ever have in my life. And it was just God protecting me from being in a situation I didn't need to be in. What do I mean by that? After I lost my baby, I told my baby daddy I was devastated. He was devastated, you know, whatever, and he wanted to try again. I had no problem with that. After I lost my baby, I became very depressed. Y'all see I didn't post for like a good little minute. And I was just trying to find my way and find myself. And so, you know, I started going on all these trips. I started doing stuff. Cool, your girl was having a ball. Well, he invited me to this house party because his friend's son was graduating high school. So I went because I wanted to get out the house. I wanted to do something fun, you know, just try to come back to some sense of normalcy, right? Well, that particular night, a female that he had been having relations with, I say it like that, was at the party as well. And while we were on the way to get food, she felt the need to reveal that information, right? Mind you, y'all, I didn't ask these questions. I really didn't care at the time because I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I didn't know myself, and I was devastated for losing my baby because I felt like it was my fault. Whole time not knowing my baby daddy was still out here being a part of the world, okay? He was still out here doing his thing in the streets, and I wasn't. I was in the house, okay? If y'all get what I'm saying. So I found that out that night, and mind y'all, like I said, I don't know what it could be. I mean, I think people call it discernment, but I feel like it's another term for it. But my, I guess, aura or energy, when I'm around people, they just feel the need to share things with me because, like I said, I didn't ask for that information. We weren't in a situation where that information was warranted. We was just going to go get food and was going to come back. That was it. That was all. But everything happens for a reason. I am a true and firm believer in that. And so that's what happened. I basically found out my baby daddy was still hunching around after the fact. Because for me, my take on it was whatever you did before me has nothing to do with me. But whatever you do after me, yeah, that's why I draw the line. I got a problem with that. So that is why we do not speak. That is why we do not communicate. If you know who my baby father is, you know who he is. I don't care. I would never publicly come out and tell y'all who my baby daddy is, give y'all his initials, say what he looked like, none of that. Even in the story time that I did, when I was dating, I called him Bird, and that was a good name. I didn't know why I called him Bird at the time, but now I understand, because Bird brain. But yeah, so that's basically what happened. I got pregnant in February. The third week of February is when I got pregnant. I was trying for my baby. I still don't regret getting pregnant or anything like that. I feel like it was a part of my story, a part of my journey, and that's why I'm sharing it with y'all, because during that time I was looking for a lot of videos from women or females around my age who may have experienced something like that. Not saying like your baby daddy was, out here in the world on you, just, experiencing a miscarriage at such a young age, and with it being my first pregnancy as well. So yeah, that's kind of what happened with that, y'all. Like I said, I was trying to have my baby, so I paid attention to my ovulation week. The app that I use, like the peak ovulation day, has a purple little bubble on it or whatever. So I did do it the day before my ovulation day, the day of, and the day after, because from like the stuff I was watching and videos I had seen, that was like kind of the steps that most people use to conceive and get pregnant. So yeah, I followed the script, and boom, bam, pow, I got pregnant. I lost my baby. Well, I found out I lost my baby at my 9-week appointment. My baby actually had stopped growing at 7 weeks and 1 day. 7 weeks and 1 day was April 6th. Now, what's funny to me about that is my uncle had passed earlier this year. That was actually my uncle's birthday. And growing up, he always had this joke about I won't date before I'm 30 and stuff like that. And like I said, y'all, I'm finna be 25, but your girl been dating, I've been doing what I do or whatever. But that was always funny. So I was like, dang, it's crazy, my baby passed on my uncle's birthday. So that was the whole thing. Like I said, originally I was devastated about it. I've come to terms with it. I'm not sad about it. Like I said, it happened for a reason. That night where everything came out, it happened for a reason. Other things that have been brought to my attention happened for a reason as well. And y'all, I still don't care. Like, my part of the story in that book is finished, okay? That's why I said I'm closing this chapter. I'm leaving all that in 24, at the age of 24. 25 is completely a fresh start for me. And I don't want y'all to feel like y'all can't ask me questions about pregnancy or like what I experienced and stuff like that, because I had questions too, and I didn't really have nobody to ask. Also, when my baby lost his heartbeat, I didn't know. I didn't have any bleeding or anything like that. I had what was called a silent miscarriage. And like the doctors told me, because I had to have 2 ultrasounds done before it was confirmed that my baby was deceased and no longer growing. There was no heartbeat, all of that stuff there. And then too, like, so when it came to my baby daddy, I know a lot of y'all, when y'all was, like, not when y'all was, but when y'all would call while I was pregnant, checking on me, and y'all be like, is he treating you right? Is he doing good? Y'all, he was treating me right. I would never say he treated me wrong, per se, but I would say from, like, small stuff that he would do, I don't think that was the best person for me to have a baby with. Initially, I thought so, because he of course he's older than me, but that's not really why. He has a long-standing career. He's great with kids. He tutors and mentors children. He has ties to the community, all of that. So for me, that was kind of like a plus, you know what I'm saying? And he got a good job. Y'all know, for me, it's never about the money, because I got my own money. I've been doing this, but it was just like, okay, you kind of got your life together. And what I mean by kind of is, my baby daddy doesn't own anything. So me, I own property, I own my vehicle, I own, things that I own. We ain't gonna get too deep into it, but you know what I'm saying? I have titles. So that was just a whole other thing. Like, just because, like, they're older, that doesn't make them smarter than you. That doesn't make the point that they're at in their life better than yours. Like, like I said, y'all, I mainly just took this as a learning experience, okay? Players fuck up too, you feel me? But we back on track. But I genuinely have been happy. I've been enjoying my life. I don't think my baby was stopping me or holding me back anyway. I was still enjoying my life with my baby. And once I saw the type of person my baby daddy actually was, it no longer became trying to build a bond with him. And that's what I say kind of messed it up the most, because I grew up with a single mom, in a single parent household, and I didn't want that for my child. I wanted my baby to grow up in a 2-parent household, and me and him had talked about that and talked about other things like that, y'all, but I ain't finna get too deep into all that. But we had discussed stuff like that, and you know, we said we both agreed on that's what we wanted. But for me to find out after I lost my baby the things that he was doing, that's not a person I would want to raise my child with or bring a child into the world with, because it's like, you're not who you presented yourself to be. And he kept up a good front for a good little minute, because it's like, when they say children change people, they really do. And then on top of that, I also, while I was pregnant, I found out that he did have another baby on the way. Now, granted, he was the one that came and told me, and he said he came and told me as soon as she told him, which it seemed like after the news came out about me and him having a baby, that seems like when this person decided to say that they were having a child, because from what he told me, when he told me is when he found out, and that was after I was already into my pregnancy. So that was a whole nother thing. But we all know I've been a stepmama before. Like, if that situation was meant for me, it would have happened. It did not. So Saved by the Bell, you feel me? But yeah, y'all, I just didn't need to be there. Okay, it wasn't meant for your girl. And it's nothing wrong with that, because I did realize that once I stopped caring about him, it was just all about me and my baby. Like, I was already making a game plan about who was gonna do what. I had already built up my support system. I had already put aside stuff financially. Like, I'm not gonna say I was planning my exit, because like I said, I wanted my child to grow up in a 2-parent household, but I also didn't want my child to see me grow up and think that's what love was, because that's not what love is. So yeah, that's mainly it for me. I'm over it. Like I said, if y'all know who he is, just don't ask that man nothing about me. Don't mention me. Don't say nothing to him don't say nothing about him to me. Like, it's not gonna make me angry. It's not gonna make me mad, because like I said, I'm over this situation. I wash my hands with it. And karma's a bee, and she definitely spins the block for me. So it is what it is. But that is me closing my chapter of 24. Almost being a mommy. Not yet. I feel like the next time I do plan to have a child, I want to be healthier. Like, I was pretty healthy with this baby, but from the top, my first appointment, they already had labeled me high risk, because if you don't know, or if you didn't know, I am a diabetic. So off jump, they labeled me high risk, and that's what led me to get put on insulin. From the videos y'all have seen of me giving myself shots, and the ones y'all will see in the future and stuff like that. That was the reason. I haven't always been on insulin. I was on medication to manage my diabetes, but it was in pill form. So yeah, y'all, but life's great. I've been having a ball, from which I can see, and I'm still having a ball, honestly. But it's always room for growth and improvement, and that's what I will continue to do. Don't mind me, y'all. I'm driving, but I'm trying to make sure I don't miss my exit. Because I'm on the way to a wedding that's on my birthday. So yeah, that should be fun. But yeah, y'all, that's pretty much it for me. I'm excited to see what chapter 25 has to bring. The conversations that I have been having with a lot of individuals, I definitely see my life changing drastically really soon, and it's in a good way. It's in a positive way, and I'm proud of that for me, because I feel like I work hard for everything I do, everything I have. And you know, life always is going to life, but I choose to take the happy moments and continue to enjoy mine, because hey, we here for a good time, not a long time. You feel me? Even if it's a long time, it ain't forever. So I enjoy what I have while I have it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.